Hello, hi, welcome to reInvent 2020. My name is Rajkumar Koparapu. I'm a senior product manager for Amazon Textract. It's a machine learning service that allows you to extract text and data from documents and images using machine learning. And with me today, I have Mr. Reddy Gudla, who's going to join me in a bit. And he's a staff vice president for digital engineering at Anthem, which is the second largest health insurance provider in the United States. And together, we're going to talk to you about intelligent document processing for the insurance industry. And let me tell you why I joined Amazon Textract to give you some context, right? So back in college, I used to work in the library on this project called Lincoln Digitization. And what that entails was taking books about Lincoln's history and scanning them and making them into digital text. So at the time, my employer cared about two different things: speed and accuracy of processing those books and turning them into text. And I think and I believe that speed and accuracy of processing documents, and specifically claims or onboarding customers, is very important for the insurance industry. And that is why I think my background and this particular talk are relevant, and that is the reason why I said, as a product manager, I'm excited about solving customer problems, and this problem of being able to process documents seemed like an interesting challenge for me, and here I am. And today in this session, my goal is to tell you how you can also improve speed and accuracy of document processing within your organizations. And if you go back and again think about what I did as a student employee scanning documents and where improvement in speed and accuracy was important, I can only imagine how more critical it is for organizations like yourself, where getting customers onboarded quickly or processing claims is very important. So with that, let me tell you what the agenda for this session is. One, let's talk about some of the benefits of Amazon Textract, which will give you some context about why this session matters. And then we'll talk about how Anthem, again, Mr. Reddy is going to talk about this and how they are using Amazon Textract to process and improve their speed of processing insurance claims. And three, we're going to look at 4 steps of implementing Amazon Textract at scale. So my goal here is to give you some information about benefits of Textract, see how a customer like Anthem is actually using Textract to process claims, and then 3, give you tools to actually implement Textract at scale in your organizations. With that, let's talk about benefits of Textract. One, as I mentioned again, speed and accuracy are important in processing documents. So one of the things that Amazon provides for you is the ability to extract data from documents and images quickly, and it'll give you some flexible extraction options. And intelligence, the intelligent document processing, that is where what it comes into play is the ability to take any type of document that Textract has not seen before and be able to still extract data from them. Number 2, it eliminates the manual effort. So if you can imagine, you have custom templates that you might have been using for manually reviewing document types that you have. So it reduces or removes this manual effort process that you need to do. 3, you don't need any machine learning experience, right? So even though Amazon Textract is a machine learning service, you as a customer would not require any machine learning expertise to actually take advantage of using this service. And 4, finally, again, so you take a document, you take the time to actually get the data out, and if you improve speed and accuracy, then it also, in turn, gets you to lower your cost of actually processing those documents, right? So we've seen average of 10x savings for OCR workloads. OCR is optical character recognition. So those are the 4 different benefits of using Textract. And real quick, I also want to talk to you about some of the customers that are using Textract, right? So as I mentioned, Anthem specifically is going to tell you about how they use Amazon Textract. But we have customers like HelloSign, TC Energy, 3M, Intuit, and then Change Healthcare. And one particular customer that I would like to draw your attention here is Change Healthcare. Change Healthcare is a healthcare administrative network in the United States. They process claims from physicians and pharmacies, and they do up to 12 billion plus transactions in a year, accounting to around 2 trillion of total claims processed recently, right? And so they have been an advocate of AWS, and they've recently employed Amazon Textract to be able to process these claims faster with a combination of Amazon SageMaker. So what they do is they process claims, they get the information out, and they use Amazon SageMaker in combination to get the accuracy that they need. So we have customers that are successfully using Amazon Textract at scale, and I would like to show you through an example with Mr. Reddy, who is going to talk to you about how Anthem is doing this at scale for processing their claims and how they've improved their processing times.
Hello, I'm Reddy Goodla. I lead the digital 10x engineering organization at Anthem. Today I'm going to talk about how Anthem automates insurance claims using AWS Textract. I'm going to first talk about the problem statement. And the pandemic has created a unique challenge for us at Anthem. We still get a good chunk of paper claims. And along with the paper claims, we also have a corresponding attachment that goes with that. And we have a manual process involved with that, okay, to understand, okay, what is the attachment that went along with the claim, along with some element of classification about the type of attachment, which is essentially needed by our manual claims processing folks to review and process the claim. The pandemic has created a situation where the current workflow we have for reviewing the attachments is kind of disrupted, thereby seriously impacting our SLA. As the leader of the 10x digital engineering organization, I'm given the challenge to say what can be done to solve this. Given our strategy to move towards a digital first organization, our goal is like what can be done in general to eliminate bulk of this manual processing. Our end state vision to even eliminate paper altogether. So what can be done about it? So we looked into an approach of a corresponding what can be done from a workflow perspective. Why can't we take the attachments coming through digitally? And then once we get the digitally, if there is a way using AI and to automatically index, bottom line, to create a digital indexing solution, which will allow us to eliminate the manual processing and thereby reduce the turnaround time and then increase the throughput for our claims processing. And as you can see on the slide, the manual process takes anywhere from 20 minutes per claim. Because it's manual, somebody has to read through what's the attachment associated with that and determine what kind of a claim, what kind of an attachment is it. And the idea there is like by using some kind of an automated solution, we should be able to classify it automatically and then maybe in split seconds or near real time. That was the vision behind how we wanted to solve this. So that gave us the need for a good OCR along with a parsing solution. We definitely had a need in general for all of our digital solutions to find out a document extraction capability with good parsing and OCR capabilities. So we did evaluate multiple solutions, and then AWS Textract is one of them. And why we chose AWS Textract? One of the requirements for us is our ability to read tables and forms a good pre-processing capabilities, and then most importantly, also being able to meet our PHI compliance standards. Typically, Anthem being a health insurance company, we follow the enterprise, the government HIPAA regulations, and all the PHI standards. So that's definitely a key factor for us. So with that, TextRack did meet our requirements for the parsing needs, for the OCR needs, and then that's part of the factor which allowed us to choose TextRack. So I'm going to talk about our solution. How did we go about solving this? Um, as you can see the workflow, from a portal, we actually get our claims. Along with that, all the attachments that go along with that. The current workflow is the attachments are sent to the manual review process. And then after the manual inspection is done, the offshore team, which actually does the inspection, they come back and classify the documents and say, here are the type of documents, whether it is an appeal versus a previous claim, something that our claims reviewers can use it to process and say make a determination about the claim. Our vision is to take that manual process away and instead replace it with a digital indexing solution. And here is how we went about it. We used AWS to extract. Again, we're looking for, I say, good document extraction, ability to read the content from the claim along with the attachments that come along with that. So what we did in the digital indexing solution is using the AWS to extracted the content out. Next thing we used, you're using some proprietary machine learning models to automatically index the content extracted to see what type of a document and classify the document, and then made it available for our post-processing. And the net result is the claims processing, at least we did a pilot in, and about I would say about 80% of the attachments through this went through this new process in a near automated fashion. And our goal is to see if we can eventually move towards uh, um, with more automation, maybe beyond the 90s. Bottom line, I think we have a generic need for a good, robust document extraction capabilities with good parsing capabilities, OCR capabilities, followed up by some proprietary or even general skills with digital processing using AI ML. And we hope this is going to help us, these kinds of technologies in the future to move Anthem towards a digital first organization. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Raj. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy, for talking to us about how you're using Amazon TextRack and how it's helping you with your claims processing. So with that, now that you've heard what Mr. Reddy has said, let's move on to the next part of the agenda, which I'm going to walk you through 4 steps to implement Amazon TextRack at scale. So again, going back to the original goal of this session, I want to tell you how you can use Amazon TextRack to improve the speed and accuracy of document processing, right? And with that, the 4 steps to put Amazon TextRack at scale now. Here's the 4 steps. One is we'll take a document that you have, a representative document that you want to process. You go onto the AWS console for TextRack and you upload a sample document and you see what the output looks like. And I'm going to show you through a little demo what that looks like so you can see firsthand. And then now that you're comfortable with one document, the next step is to be able to process a sample set, right? So you feel good about one document, you move on to a representative sample of different types of documents that you might have. So I'm going to show you how you can do that using a simple code sample as well. Third, after you've gone through a representative sample, you can also use some code samples again to tweak some output, right? So you might need specific things out of a particular document, and after you get the output out of TextRack, you can tweak it according to your needs. And then finally, optionally, you still have the process of manually reviewing documents, right? So you have some sensitive documents that you want to process. So there is also this native integration with this Amazon Augmented AI product that you can get reviewed by humans for accuracy, improved accuracy. So with that, let's move on to the first step, which is uploading a document to the console. And here, I took an input document on the left-hand side of the screen. I have this document that has some demographic information about a particular customer. As you can see, this information is also handwritten, and I'm going to put that into the console, and here's what the output looks like. And on the right-hand side, you have these 4 different tabs on the top. One is raw text, which is what is shown on the screen. You have forms, you have tables, and you have the human review aspect with augmented AI that I just mentioned. So let's walk through the demo real quick, and I'll show you in action what uploading a document to the console looks like.
Here's the Amazon Textract landing page. To start, let's click on this orange button called Try Amazon Textract, which brings us to the Amazon Textract console. In here, there is a sample document that is shown, but let's upload our own document here. So for that, I go to this Upload Document orange button on the top right hand side. I click on it and I select a document. And in this document, I also have handwriting to show you a flavor for what Textract can do. And the document that I just uploaded is shown on the left-hand side. And then all the 4 different categories of data that is extracted, both structured and unstructured, is on the right-hand side. And if you click on any of the text on the right side, it will highlight it in blue on the left side. So in this case, you can see physician name, optional, Mary Major is highlighted on the left side. And then if you go on to the form section, again, similarly, if you just click on this last name Doe, it is highlighted for you where the key is last name with the value of Doe. And then tables, there are no tables in this document, so there's nothing shown. So simply, as I showed you, you could upload a document and look at the different data that has been extracted by Textract using the console.
Okay, so now that we've seen what the demo for the console looks like, let's move on and see what you can do with the CLI, the command line interface, the AWS command line interface that you can also do. So if you're a developer and you rather not use the console, you have the other option of using the CLI. You got the same form here, and you put that in by calling Textract using the API. And on the right-hand side, you get this is portion of the JSON output that you get from Textract, right? And the portion that I'm highlighting on this screen right now, which is called the confidence aspect, right? Once you get the JSON output, you get individual aspects of different information on this document presented back to you. And in there is a field that's called confidence that's going to tell you, you know, Textract thinks that there is this field called city with the value of any town, and the confidence of Textract that it's called city and any town is 99.97, right? So that is going to help you determine whether the confidence level is to your expectations or not, and which will also help you determine whether you need to actually get that reviewed manually if you don't think the confidence is the level that you want it to be. So if by using the CLI, you have this option of actually working with the JSON output as well. And guess what? If you have used the CLI, you've seen what the output looks like, but then you don't want to parse through or look at the JSON output, which could be rather verbose. You could use a simple code sample. And here I have a code sample for pretty print, right? So I have another document that I'm using here. It's called previous employment history. It's got a structure of a table in here with different columns. And when I put this through in the CLI also, the output again looks like you see on the bottom. So rather than having to go through this JSON output individually line by line and having to figure out where the text in individual cells are, you can do this so you can do a side-by-side comparison of the document and the output. And let me again show you a real quick demo of what this pretty print code sample will do in action.
In order to run my code sample, I'm going to open the AWS command line interface. I'm going to type this command in Python, and I'm calling this script that will take in picture3.png as the input from this S3 bucket that I have, and then give me the output in a way that I can consume easily. And there you go. The document, it took in the picture3 document and it provided me this output in a way that I can look and see what the contents of the document are without having to parse through the JSON. So that's another simple way of looking at extract output using a code sample.
Okay, so now that you've seen how you can take a code sample, use either the console or the CLI to process a sample document, let's process a sample set of documents, a representative sample of your document set, right? For that, again, I'm using here another code sample called Textractor. And what this does is it takes a bunch of different documents that you have, it calls Textract on your behalf, and then the output again is going to give you in the form of three different elements, actually four. One is the raw text aspect. Two, if you have any tables in the document, it's going to give you that in the form of a CSV table, CSV file. And three, it will give you forms, which means any key value pairs in the document are going to give you, it's going to give you back in the form of a file. And four, the actual JSON output itself. So let's see in action what Textractor looks like in the form of a demo.
Let's start with the AWS CLI again, and I'm going to run this script Textractor, and I'm passing it parameters saying this document called sample_intake.png is in this documents folder, and I would like Textractor to return text, forms, and tables output back to me. And when I run this, it's calling Textract, and it says that it has successfully extracted the document. So let me just go to that folder and here. So what it has done is it has generated these different files for me, as I mentioned. I asked for the forms, I asked for tables, I asked for the raw text as well. And these other files here, the entire JSON response is in this file. And if you have multiple pages in a document, then you will see this response per page. So this JSON response here corresponds to page 1. So let's open the CSV file for forms and see what we got. And I'm going to also just overlay that document side by side so we can compare and see what the output and the input look like. So here, Textractor gave me these key value pairs, and in this document you have first name Jane, and on the left side you can see you have a value for a key called first name, and Textractor has a confidence of 89, and the value itself for that key value first name is Jane with a value confidence of 89. So this will allow you to compare and determine the accuracy of Textract for a particular document, and you can run through a sample of these documents using Textractor. to get a sense for what TechStack's accuracy looks like for your sample set.
All right. So now you've also seen what Textractor is and how you can use a code sample to do some processing of sample documents. Let's talk about post-processing for a minute. So you've seen what Textract's output is. It gives you what you need, but then you have some places where you need to tweak this JSON output and you don't want to deal with this rather long JSON output. You can use this JSON Parser library, and by doing that, you can actually look at individual parts of the JSON that you are interested in. So if you have a particular field, a block type that you're interested in a particular document, you can get that out in the form of printing just that particular aspect of the document, and so that you don't see this giant JSON output, but you see just the pieces of information that are important to you. So that, again, this is a code sample that is available that'll give you a way for you to parse through the JSON response. Also, another example that I want to point out is if you have a really hard to read document, right? So the quality of the document is not so great. You can use another sample library like the one that I've shown in Python here, difflib, but you have this available in other languages as well, where if by using fuzzy logic, you can say if the patient's name and address is not extracted completely, you can still use fuzzy logic on top of it to be able to get the keys and values that you're most interested in a particular document. So that is what you can do as part of post-processing. And finally, so you've done the post-processing also, but you have really critical documents that have specific fields that you want even more accuracy. That is where Augmented AI comes into play. And let's see what that is. Augmented AI is natively integrated with Amazon Textract. So the first thing that you do is you send documents to Amazon Textract. Amazon Textract extracts the data and structured information for you. And then, again, going back to the thing about confidence scores, right? If the confidence score is high enough for you, then you just immediately take that information and pass it on to your application. But if there are some values that have lower confidence, you put that through for human review. And then you get all of the consolidated information from both the Amazon Textract output and the A2I output. And then you all have all of those results stored in Amazon S3. And then you take all of the combined output and then send it off to your client application. That way, you can still have the capability of using humans in your review process for more accuracy. So going back to where I started, right? As I said, this problem was exciting to me because I used to do this thing back in college of extracting data from books, and it was a long and painful process. But now, fast forward now, this is a process I'm really happy or a problem that I'm solving for customers like you. And you can see machine learning can make that process so much simpler for you. And with that, I would like to also show you some Textract resources that are available in the forms of documentation. There's videos, there's code samples, there are tutorials, there's blogs. All of that information you can find on this link here on the bottom. So you can see how you can use Textract, for instance, at scale and process thousands of documents on a daily basis. And thank you very much for attending this session again. I really appreciate you taking the time today. I hope this was valuable enough to learn how you can process documents using Amazon Textract and put some intelligence into your workflow processes. And finally, I would also want to say that please complete the session survey. We read that thoroughly so we know what customers are thinking so we can improve on this for later times. Thank you very much.